Hello and welcome back to another brand new episode of Be Smart, Play Dumb, where I'll teach you how to play the game of life. Because if you don't know how to play it, ladies, you will get played. Today is another video and audio episode for everybody watching. Welcome to my YouTube. For everybody listening, welcome to my Spotify. I feel like sometimes Spotify users also get a video. Depends on which mood I'm in. Sometimes it's your lucky day. I'm pulling out my phone at the moment because I thought I'm going to do a little Q&A episode for today, okay? Because there's so many questions currently in my DM where I feel like I need to get back to you. We need to sort of uncover some mysteries in the dating realm. There's a lot of you that actually requested more single lady content. So early talking stages, dating, where to find provider men. And sometimes I forget that a lot of you are new here because I'm like, excuse me, I've been covering all of these topics already previously, especially on my TikTok, but we are growing, okay, and there's new people to community, so welcome, and I will dive into those questions you have for me. How to open up again after a relationship? Question number one. So first of all, with these questions I'm getting, I obviously don't have a lot of context about you and your individual position you're in, but I assume that after you've been in this relationship with someone, you've either been betrayed or hurt, or you're not wanting to date because of grieving the loss of a person. And I guess that's what you're implying by saying, how can I open up again after a relationship, right? So I think you need to first of all fully heal yourself. You want to look back at this past relationship, and I don't care if this was a bad man or if this was the love of your life or if he was so sexy and handsome, like I don't give a shit. Look back towards this relationship, reflect on it, and think about what you can learn from this. And you need to totally surrender and accept the circumstances that this relationship forced you in. Maybe you were the victim in this relationship. Maybe you were the placeholder. Maybe you were the loyal golden retriever chasing him and he took advantage of you. Maybe he was a narcissist, whatever it is. But before you get out into the world to date again and you enter a new relationship, because ideally you want the new relationship you're going to be in to last and for it to be healthy, before you do any of that, sit with yourself and either meditate on it or journal on it or even go to therapy, okay? And if you can't afford therapy, go see your girlfriend and talk about these things. And I don't want you to talk about things like, this is so unfair and he did this to me and he cheated on me and blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's time and day for that too, but regarding your question, it sounds like you've already overcome that stage of grief and you want to open up to then have another relationship again, right? And so I want you to ask yourself meaningful questions like, what could I have done differently? Was I maybe also part of the problem? Could I have trusted him more? How did my subconscious own traumas or hardships or past relationships really affect my attachment style here and further maybe even sabotage this relationship to him? Because do you know how many clients I'm speaking to and they later on revealed to me that they knew deep down through their loyal golden retriever behavior, they actually pushed away a very good man. And that takes a lot of intellect to push your ego aside like that and have this introspective, is that the right English word? I hope you understand what I'm saying. And acceptance to be like, you know what? I actually fucked it up. And so once you know that you did something wrong, or maybe you did fuck something up, or maybe he did, okay? Maybe you were truly innocent. But can you learn by your past relationships' mistakes, the things he did or didn't do? Who do you want to date in the future? Let all of this past trauma or hardships or even just experiences without attaching an emotion to it, all of these past experiences with your ex-partner, let it guide you into the next relationship. Okay, so that's step number one on how to open up after you've come from a breakup, is to surrender, to heal, and accept fully what has happened and use it as a learning curve. Do not immediately go out there and start dating because you still need to heal. But then there's some of you, and I see you because I see your messages, there's some of you who are so happy just being by themselves or pretend to be happy to be by themselves, and then all of a sudden they feel really lonely and they want to be with somebody and they genuinely lost their mojo on how to actually get with a man, okay? So we want to dive a little deeper into that today, but I think there is a few questions actually around this topic as well in my question box. So let me quickly pop this up again. Dating in a small town with what appears to be no singles. You gotta get out of there, honey. You gotta get out of there. I come from like the tiniest village, like literally like a little farmer's village in Germany, okay? And I met my first love there, but we broke up, and then that's kind of it. And then I went traveling and exploring, and you can't find the love of your life, or like your partner and everything that you want, even your dream life, which I think that your partner plays a big role in that, right? Because essentially when you get married, that's like the person you create the rest of your life with. So if you are listening to this, you're single, you may be a little bit younger, and you have all these dreams and high hopes and ambitions, think outside the box. If you're living in a small village, maybe it's great to jump into the train or taxi or whatever and like go to the biggest city nearby, or like even put your Hinge, Tinder, Bumble location on, different settings, so you can literally date people outside of that little village. You got to truly think outside the box. Don't think small. Don't limit yourself when it comes to dating or to life in general. Do not limit yourself to your tiny little hometown, okay? I truly, and I love you all, I don't care what your background is or, where you're coming from, whatever, but I will say something that not everybody's gonna like, but I truly sometimes think people that never left their little town where they grew up and where they were born, I'm like, are you okay? You need to have a longing to explore. You need to have a longing to explore the world. A lot of times people that never left to actually explore or left their hometown and still live with their parents until like, mid 20s, late 20s, 30s. I've even seen men do that before. Okay, it's absolutely insane. There's something wrong here, and usually they don't end up very happy because it is so against our human sort of psychological or biological need for more, to see the world, to learn about different cultures, to learn about different people, different languages, religions. Like there's so much beauty and magic in this world, and you're not going to be really exposed to that if you're still staying in your tiny hometown. Okay, next question. 35 and single, how to not give up on love? Because it's probably the wrong word to start with. First of all, I think that love is truly everywhere. I need you to understand that you only feel there's a deficit of love, or there's a deficit of connection, or there's a deficit of real, human interaction and all of that when you only channel love through your romantic relationships. And I think I've said this actually before on this podcast, that love is found in family relationships. Love is found in womanhood, in girlhood, with girlfriends, like me sitting together over a glass of wine and maybe cooking together with a few girlfriends. Like that's love. They bring out such a beautiful version of me. I love who I am when I'm surrounded by other gorgeous, beautiful, kind, giving, feminine women. I love that version of me, and that's what love is, right? It's people that see you. They hear you, they get you. That's when you feel whole, and that's when you feel like you're accepted. Truly, when you think about like this whole need or want for love, which unfortunately is always channeled through men, and we do speak a lot about men here, but again, I just want you to understand love is found in so many different other elements. Even in interacting with strangers on the street, like smiling at your barista in the morning who makes you your coffee, having a little witty conversation with them, and all of a sudden you become friends because you literally see each other every morning. There's so much love to be found everywhere, even like with animals and stuff, right? So to answer that question again and really think about this a little bit deeper here, it's not just about me now saying to you, don't give up, the right partner will come. Even though I believe in all of that, I believe the right man will come, as soon as you sort of reinvented yourself and you build yourself and build your life and you're fully happy. And there's so much self-love within you that then the right man will come to you. I think it's important for you to channel where you can receive love and give love in other ways that are not romantic. The need for love comes from wanting to be accepted, which is a deep core human need, and it's something that also comes from primal days, which you all know. I always love talking about it, because if you were not accepted into a group, let's say like in Stone Age times, right, because you were a little bit odd, maybe you were really sick, maybe something was wrong with you, maybe there were, like your chances of survival are lower, and you will most likely be excluded from the group because there's something wrong with you. And then you're left alone in the woods, and maybe you are sick, maybe you can't really fight, maybe you've got broken legs or whatever it is, and so they abandon you, and then all of a sudden saber-toothed tiger comes along and eats you. Your chances of survival back in the day are bigger when you are in a group. There is a deep, deep longing within all of us to be accepted. And part of that is that primal sort of instinct, because it has something to do with survival, which is absolutely crazy, because that also explains social anxieties and all of these things a little bit, right, to a certain degree. By the way, I hope you can't hear my dishwasher in the background. There's a lot of noises going on. There's like the dishwasher, the air conditioning, and also the washing machine, okay? It's all kind of happening in the background. And the reason for that is, by the way, I'm going to Dubai tomorrow. This is the last episode in Australia, live, basically. And I'm going to Dubai to have an amazing launch event with a European brand that designed something for me, which is a product that I'll be launching. And I can't wait to show you all. And I'm so excited. We've got a bunch of big celebrities, influencers coming to the event. Even my family's flying in from Germany. When I tell you, you know, the queen of being unbothered, it is crazy. It is a little bit nerve-wracking, okay? Because there's just so much going into this, and I've got so many work appointments too, and I have no idea how I'm going to make this timing-wise. But anyway, I feel like I don't want to go all over the place. My ADHD is currently going crazy because I just remembered I need to still pack, I need to do all of these things. If I would turn the camera right now, you would see my house. It is absolutely insane because all the washing is there. But I don't want to lose my track because I feel like we spoke about something very interesting, which is the need for acceptance in humans. And I need you to remember that we all have that deep craving and longing for acceptance within us. But we don't live in primal days anymore where if we are not accepted by a certain group of people, we're going to be abandoned and we're going to die because we're alone in the forest. No, we're more complex than that. You know, we're independent. We can be self-sufficient. So just because a group, a tribe, whatever you want to call it, is not accepting of you, even a man that you want to date is not really giving you the same emotion that you are channeling into him back to you. If there's any sort of abandonment or rejection in your life, it is not deadly like it used to be back in the day, right? It's not life-threatening, but it feels like it to us because I think as a species, there's so much intellectual properties, is that the right English word? Oh my God, I don't know. But found in our DNA that reminds us of our ancestors. And sometimes we tend to forget that we are so independent and self-sufficient, and just because somebody doesn't like us, it doesn't really matter. But it gets to us, and then we have panic attacks and social anxiety and all of these things. But honestly, it's just like a myth. Like it's like a, how do you say this in English? Oh my God, I'm really struggling today because I spoke so much German today. It's like a bubble. It's like a fantasy world. It doesn't really truly exist because it is not a life-threatening thing when somebody doesn't accept you, okay? So there was a lot of talking about the acceptance and abandonment core wound and need we have as humans. So let's dive into another question. How to text feminine and set standards on the first few dates. Okay, let's talk about the talking stage a little bit. How can you text feminine? What does feminine really here even mean? I think femininity means to be passive, to surrender without becoming submissive, to let him lead, to let him organize dates, and to plant seeds rather than telling him what you want. You know, if he wants to take you out and he's chatting to you about the next date he wants to set up or whatever it is, you can make suggestions, but don't really tell him what to do, right? Let him problem solve. Maybe even ask him questions if he can help with something, if he can come over and like change the car tire or whatever. Like, let this man work for you. Even on the way to you, like, could he pick this and this up from the gas station? Could he maybe bring home pizza? Can he bring home a bottle of red wine? Like, ask him things. And a feminine way of doing this is genuinely by being like, oh, excuse me, do you mind? I really need help with blah, blah, blah. Do you mind doing that for me? Would you be open to maybe assisting me here? Where you're not directing a task at him, what he needs to do, right? And then also to further answer your question, how can I set standards from the first few dates? It's all about how you handle yourself. If you have high standards for yourself, which I have, and this is part of why I'm so excited for this Dubai event, because I'm going to go above and beyond, honey. You know, I already know it's going to be amazing. So when you have high standards for yourself, people can see it. People know as soon as you walk into the room. And so it's the way you dress, the way you smell, your body language, eye contact. If you look put together, even if you look like you're going to the gym, people know you're disciplined, you have a strong mindset. And a strong mindset and a strong body, you can see it from a mile away. You can see also a strong mind and confidence in the way people speak. Like, think about it. I always use myself because I'm obviously talking to you right now, but I don't think my voice sounds that I'm scared when I speak to you, does it? Do you know what I mean? Like, when I tell you things like I love myself, I've built so much confidence within me because of everything I've been through in my life, and I came out the other side of it, and I give no one else credit for it but myself. No one can shake me, no one can break me, because I know the only thing that can hurt me is my own unguarded thoughts. And that mantra, whatever, that belief system and inner narrative I just revealed to you, I've told you that many times how I feel about myself. But I think it's also seen in the things that when I don't speak how I feel about myself and I just genuinely interact with the world, because I show up as a confident version of myself, right? So you can tell yourself you're confident all you want and then still show up in the world as somebody that is very shy, very introverted, very insecure. So fake it till you make it, shoulders back. You need to have dominant language while still being feminine, right? I mean, again, because I'm coaching and like I'm really in my leadership role, when I do all of this content for you, it's very different to the version of Anna that my partner, my friends, my family see, because obviously it's quite masculine when I speak. But you want to master the art of being very sharp and witty with your words, like very firm, and your words need to land. And then at the same time being very soft and feminine, you can go higher up in your voice and in your tone. And this is basically where you can also set the standard that where you don't become overly reactive over the date, when he can order for you and you even, you know, let him know, like, I would love for you to choose whatever I should drink. I would love for you to pick me a drink. Do you have any recommendations? I would love for you to order. Or you've been to this restaurant before, I feel like you would know it best. Why don't you order for us? Right? Like the whole, let him lead, push him, encourage him. Like men love this stuff because they want a woman they don't need to compete with. They want a woman where they can lead. And she's not like, nah, honey, I've got it. I've been to this restaurant before. Let me order. No, I love this place. Like, I already know everything off the cart. I'm going to get this. Like, it's nice when you encourage him to be the man because you want him to be the man. A lot of women actually condition their men to be submissive to them because they want to wear the pants in their relationship. They're so dominant. They're that want to be black cat. And then they resent their man because their man truly becomes submissive. And then sex drive is going down. Chemistry is off. Both grow resentful of each other. And it genuinely just comes down that both of you haven't mastered the art of feminine and masculine energy. And you pushed him and forced him into his feminine while you forced yourself into your masculine. And both of you shouldn't really be in that energy because both of you don't really feel good about that, right? Okay, next question, because otherwise I could speak about all of these different topics for hours and there's so many questions still. Woo! Best places to meet provider high-value men. Okay, I've said this so many times before, but I know there's new people here, so I'm going to repeat myself again. Go into the business districts in your city. And I'm also talking to you who asked the question around how can I date somebody in my village, blah, blah, blah. Like, listen up here, okay? Because you need to get out of that little village and you need to go to a business district in a big city. If you can't physically go there, put your dating application on there, right? And go to beautiful hotel lobbies, for example, lunch spots, beautiful high-end luxury cafes that usually are situated in like the financial banking, business districts, and then all these men that work in these sort of niches or industries or in that workforce will go there on their lunch break around midday, like anywhere from like maybe 12 to 2 p.m., and they will have coffee there. And if I was you, I would go there by myself. I would bring a journal. I would maybe bring a laptop. I would maybe bring a book. And I would look beautiful. I would look feminine. I would dress in very light colors because light colors absorb less light or more light. Oh my God, I'm not a scientist. But essentially, you're just glowing, right? Black color, I think black absorbs more light, and therefore you just dial down. If you wear colors, especially when you know your color theory, like beautiful peach or rosé or like all these feminine colors, men are drawn to it because it's just feminine. Skirts, dresses, all of these things, beautiful jewelry. Make sure you smell good. Make sure you look like you fit in there and you are feminine, high value, all of these things. And sit there by yourself. And while you're maybe working on your laptop doing emails, or while you may be reading a book, or while you may be on your phone, even though I don't encourage you really to be on your phone, but who knows, maybe you're doing emails on your phone, right? Maybe you're working. Look up and be present with yourself, but be present with the room and the men that enter this room. Make eye contact, smile, open body language. If you sit there as a drop-dead gorgeous woman by yourself, and you don't really look like there's company, trust me, somebody's gonna see you. You need to acknowledge, like that, look back and smile and like be inviting. If you have open, inviting energy, a man will come approach you. Men are shit scared of rejection. So if you sit there trying to have this wannabe black cat energy, oh my God, I'm so absorbed in myself and I'm so like confident and like I don't even need to look at anybody, that's not really inviting. As long as you're warm and inviting and you smile and like, you're dropping hints body language wise that you're available, somebody's going to come talk to you. And I think this is one of the best ways. I've always done that, by the way, but not only because I wanted to meet men. To be honest, I always decentered men in my life, and I guess this is why I do what I do today, because I just understand how they work psychologically, and like the less attention you give them, the more they're going to come to you. That's basically the whole black hat theory I've created. But when I went to these places, I went there to embody this new version of myself, even when I had nothing, when I had like $10 to my name, when everything I owned was just my backpack and the clothes I wore, and I was literally at certain times like camp in public parks and all of these things. I refused to settle for these circumstances that life threw up on me. And I knew if I wanted to change my life, I have to show up as a future version of myself. And I want to be in spaces that are bright, full of light, full of wealth. I want to walk in and smell money. I want to go to places that look like money. And that's what I did. And then I sat there and I would bring my book or whatever. And here's the thing, because a lot of you are going to say, oh my God, but how could you afford this? Or like, how can I do this? There's always a coffee that costs $5 on the menu. Just go there and have a tea or have a coffee. There's tea. I used to drink tea, peppermint tea, $3.50 Australian. So that's like US, I don't know, like $1 or $2. So on every single menu, even though you're in the fanciest restaurant, you could literally just go there, beautifully dressed, with a book or something, and have a little, maybe even have a glass of champagne, okay, if you're feeling fancy. That's obviously going to be a little bit more expensive, but I'm trying to explain to you there's not really any excuse. Like your coffee, you can either have it at a train station with the local crackheads around and like graffiti everywhere and druggies and like dirt and garbage on the floor and everything's gray, and you pay still $5, or you go into a beautiful high-end, I don't know, like club or lobby or cafe, and you still pay $5, but you're in a very much elevated space. And it's proven that, by the way, these environments have a higher frequency. They elevate your spirit. They elevate you. This is why rich people have their private jets. It's not because they want to flex on Instagram, maybe some of them, but exclusivity, not having to sit on a plane with 500 other people and being in your own space, and it's very much exclusive. There is no noise, there is no distraction, you're less of a target for attacks or whatever. So exclusivity is, for example, also raising your vibration because you're protected from other people's sort of frequencies or energies around you, right? This is why a lot of people become, especially women, because we are so sensitive and we're such energetic beings, we become overwhelmed in shopping malls. We become overwhelmed at busy train stations with also lots of men around and everybody's like rushing and everything, and there's just pure stress. So anything that is more exclusive and also more expensive, I hate to say it, but it makes you feel better, even when it comes to clothes, like silk or any of these like beautiful wool, like natural organic cotton and bamboo and whatever it is, that also raises your frequency because you wear it on your body and it feels better and you immediately feel like, wow, I'm really wearing like beautiful quality. And by the way, I'm saying these things because first of all, they're true, but also secondly, to give you advice. And thirdly, before anybody comes and turns my words around, I obviously don't wear designer clothes all the time, okay? Because sometimes I give advice and people think I'm like this perfect human that only owns designer clothes and like probably flies a private jet herself because that's what she's talking about. No, like I'm a normal woman, okay? And I've got my few designer pieces and then I've got a few very cheap pieces and I like to combine them as long as they look good, okay? But take this advice and just remember the essence of what I'm saying here. I don't want you to get confused when I compare certain things or money, wealth with poverty or, sort of different realms. There's no comparison here. There shouldn't be any emotion that you shouldn't feel triggered. That's basically what I'm saying. Because if you do feel triggered about anything of what I'm saying, it's really unfortunate because you lose the underlying message. I can promise you from the bottom of my heart that everything I say and do is with the intention to help. And I've seen people use their platform for different things or monetization or whatever it is, and they lose their own values. And I made a commitment to myself that every time I show up for other people and to my platform, that one of my biggest values or promises and commitments to myself and to you is to show up authentically and have a pure intention here. Not to tell you about certain judgments, not to tell you about what you should be doing or whatever, but genuinely to help you. Because the fact that if you elevate yourself through clothing, through dresses, through going to certain places or whatever, you look better, you feel better, you will get treated better. Just the way it is. Next question. How to handle a first date with a man from a dating app. First of all, I want to tell you, I'm not too big of a fan of dating apps. I think just what I explained with going outside, go to these elevated places. If you feel like you can't really afford it in that beautiful restaurant to sit there and have like a 5-course dinner, have a little coffee by yourself, hang around, drink it slow, drink it with intention. Think about the woman you want to be. Think about the relationship you want, right? It's not only about attracting a man, but being in these places and genuinely feeling like, wow, like I belong here. I had the longing to become better in life because I've seen other people not secretly, what's the right word? But I observed people that did really well for themselves, always like on the sideline, standing there, observing all of these people and thinking, I want to be that happy. I want to be that privileged. I want to be that advanced, whether it comes to having more resources like time and the freedom to, when I break a freaking leg, just being able to pay for a hospital visit. Because trust me, there were situations in my life where I was like, I can't afford to actually break a bone because I couldn't afford the hospital bill. Like, I want that in my life because it sucks not having that type of freedom. It's not that I need like the 100-meter yacht or whatever. And so when I had this need for it, which I think all of us have, by the way, because we just want freedom, and there's a deep desire for that, do not turn this need into resentment. Because some people look at other people that have more money than them and they turn it into resentment, and they ultimately say, oh my God, like they're so rich, and like eat the rich and like fuck the rich and all of these things. But what you're doing is you're actually not in alignment anymore with what you wanted in the first place, because your frequency and your energy is now on very different levels. It's not equal anymore. If you can make peace with it and you actually fuel your desire more to become that future version of yourself, to have a certain type of relationship with a certain type of man, you most likely are going to attract it. But this whole mindset, I've said this before, of, you know, everybody who has money is an asshole, or all men are shit, like men rule this world and it's so unfair and blah, blah, blah. Like, that is only going to keep you trapped further, right? You need to detach from all of these outcomes. Okay, my loves, last question. What's your opinion on rotational dating? Okay, let's keep that question as the last one because there's too many and maybe I need to do part 2. Rotational dating, I'm assuming it is when you see guy A, guy B, guy C, and maybe guy C is not really, you know, putting too much effort in, so you go back to guy A. I think it's not a bad idea as long as you don't have physical ties. Like, if you just sleep around and you call it rotational dating, I don't think it's really intentional, and you're probably doing yourself a disservice. If you look at it from rotational dating, rewording it to, I'm not going to put all of my eggs into one basket, because yes, I like this guy and he's handsome and like there's butterflies and whatever. That's not enough. Remember, that's not enough. Is he treating you right? Is he treating his own family right? Does he have the right morals and values? Does he have even the same perspective in life as you, right? And then there's this other guy that treats you right and like you're not sure yet, like you gotta keep exploring. I think it's a good thing to keep putting yourself out there, and that's why women ultimately choose the man who treats them best. You know, you can't just go on to this one date and then think this one guy is just so amazing, oh my God. Like, and women have this hyper focus all of a sudden too, where they stalk these guys on Instagram and everything, and they keep fantasizing and daydreaming, and you create this fully false scenario about this guy that you don't truly know, you've been only maybe on one date with, but then all of a sudden you're in love because you dysregulated your own nervous system by hyper obsessing over this man's Instagram. So, and then you're sitting there waiting for his text messages and everything, and you almost further bond yourself to him and create this attachment, because then you remember that primal thing, that instinct I spoke about earlier, that deep longing and desire for connection and acceptance. Sometimes that's triggered too, because all of a sudden you think, wait, why does he not want me? And then the more you think about why doesn't he want me, the more you want him, because you want to be accepted, because that primal instinct of wanting to be accepted is triggered. Okay, so I think you need to calm the fuck down. And rotating or dating on rotation, whatever you want to call it, I don't think is a bad thing, as long as, just like I said, you're not necessarily physically tied to anyone, and you do it intentionally, and you take your time, and you go and, you know, spend time with these people, and essentially you are the one who chooses who treated you best. All right, my loves, we are at the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it as always. I hope the audio was good. I feel like today my microphone distance was a little different than usual, but I'm trying my best. And I'm so bloody excited to go to Dubai. We're literally flying out tomorrow, and you're going to see so much content of me. I also want to do a vlog or something. Like, I just want to keep you updated on everything, because it's going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I cannot wait for it. And the reveal will actually be happening soon. I think it's less than a week. So keep an eye out on my Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and everything. And as always, leave me some comments below if you have further questions. This was a very quick Q&A. I literally went through, I don't know, I think 4 questions, and these questions are just not stopping. So if you want a second part of the Q&A, or if you like different formats of my style of episodes, please also let me know. Mwah! Much love.